How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Roller Coaster History Podcast. You are listening to Airtime Traveler. My name is Nathan Grace, and as always, I am joined by my wife and lovely co-host.
Hey, I'm Haley Grace.
And thank you for tuning in to this bonus episode of Coaster Conversations. Yeah. Haley has no idea what we're doing yet.
Nope.
Well, today, first of all, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. We're kicking off a few of these bonus episodes before season 3 gets started in just a couple weeks. Yeah, so
3.
Exciting stuff. Be sure to tune in on April 4th. That will be the beginning of season 3, and that'll be our season opener that day. If it's your first time tuning into the podcast, thank you for tuning in. Usually we, here at the Roller Coaster History Podcast, we take a coaster and we dive into the history of that coaster. But being as our season doesn't start for another couple of weeks, we've been doing some bonus episodes. And today we're going to be doing a review of the CoasterBot poll from 2023. Now, a couple things to go over. First of all, if you don't know what CoasterBot is, CoasterBot is essentially, it's a company of a few enthusiasts that they do a bunch of different things. They have a YouTube channel, they have a podcast, they have a few different things that they do in the industry. One of the things that have become popular in the community for is their CoasterBot poll, which essentially allows any coaster enthusiast to go into their database and rank all of the coasters that they have written. And then once, everyone's you basically have a few months to do that, to go in and rank all the roller coasters that you've been on. And then it takes everybody's votes and it compiles it into a ranking based on everybody, the rankings that everybody puts in. It puts together this big database of the rankings of all the coasters for that year.
Yeah, so basically Coaster Nerd Central.
That's exactly right. That's why I like it so much. So one of the things they do, though, is rather than just have the coasters banked purely on how many people voted that coaster as number one or whatever, it takes into account how many people have been on the coaster and compares it side by side. So, for example, if a coaster is kind of hard for people to get to and there's only 15 people in the poll that voted on it, but all 15 people said, yes, this is better than Steel Vengeance. All 15 of them said that. Then it would take that into account when, putting together the rankings. So
it's Coaster Nerd Central.
You're using the word nerd as a derogatory term.
Not.
That's the vibe I'm getting from you.
Well, give all the vibe you want. I am not.
It's more complicated than I'm able to. They have a whole program and system that they've developed for how to put together these rankings. But personally, I feel they are much more accurate than the Golden Ticket Awards, which no hate on the Golden Ticket Awards. I think they do great work over there at Amusement Today, so no hate. I just think that CoasterBot allows so many more people to get involved, and the Golden Ticket Awards tend to have a bias towards American coasters, which, to be fair, I also do, because if you can't tell, we both live here in the United States. And so, but the Amusement Today and the Golden Ticket Awards, it's all based in the States. And so there tends to be a bias towards American coasters when it comes to those. And so CoasterBot tends to eliminate that because it can be participated in for enthusiasts from all over the place. And CoasterBot themselves are based in the United Kingdom. So there's no American bias going on here, which I think allows for a more accurate result. And there's more people getting involved. Anyway, I think CoasterBot provides a more accurate look at how enthusiasts in the coaster enthusiast community feel about these coasters. So, if you haven't listened to the podcast before, sorry, we talk about CoasterBot a lot on the show. Every single episode that we do, when we talk about the history of a coaster, we look at the beginning of the episode, we look at where it falls in the CoasterBot rankings and compare it to some other coasters that may be similar in style or the same manufacturer, just to kind of see how it fares against other coasters that are similar to it. So we talk about CoasterBot every single episode of
Right.
Airtime Traveler. So we like to do this little shout out to them at the beginning of each year. So if you hadn't listened to the 2022 results, you can go back and listen to that episode. I think we did that in January of 2023 is when that episode came out. So we're a little late to the game on this one, but
We've also
if you haven't been keeping up to date, we had a baby in October, so we're a little late on a few things lately. So
it's true.
but we wanted to get this out before we started season 3 so that we could give our yearly shout out to CoasterBot and look into the data of how coasters perform this year, which I do for work. I'm a data analyst, so that's why this is right up my alley. It intrigues
Very
me
much so.
from a data standpoint and a coaster standpoint. So this is
Yeah.
like exactly what I'm all over. So
It's true.
So let's get into this. So also, I will say, talking about American bias, yes, we're going to be mostly talking about American coasters today because neither one of us have ridden a coaster outside of the United
It's
States.
on our
So
bucket list. We really
we want to.
Yeah.
We want to. We just can't afford to. So
Well, we also have children, so
that
that's-
makes a difference too.
it
So.
makes it a little bit
So
more difficult.
most of what we're talking about today is American coasters, but I do have some international stuff we're going to talk about because I do like looking to see, especially how the top international coasters are performing and the new coasters are performing. And
Yeah.
So we'll look at that a little bit too. So to start off, let's start positive. Let's start with the coasters that were the biggest winners of 2023. And what I mean by that is the coasters that moved up the furthest in the rankings. So maybe it got retracked and so people are enjoying it more or whatever. There's lots of different reasons the coasters can move up in the rankings. But so let's start. We got number 10 here. We have Twister at Knoebels in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure why it moved up. I know people enjoy the coaster, but
I've never been on it, which is
It's-
funny because it's in Pennsylvania.
it's
but-
in eastern Pennsylvania though, which you haven't
Yeah.
been over to that
Yeah.
side very much. She's
A lot
never
of
even
people-
been to
Okay, listen.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is 7 hours away from my house. Okay.
Everyone thinks that Pittsburgh and Philly is like a couple hours away, and
No,
that's
it's
not
so
how it is.
Far. So far.
For sure. So that one moved up 16 spots. Next, we have Giant Dipper at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk in Santa Cruz, California. Also moved up 16 spots.
Okay.
So this is an old one. This coaster turns 100 in 2 months.
Oh, cool.
So that's
similar
pretty cool.
To like Jackrabbit.
Yeah, very, very old coaster, but running very well apparently. So
Cool.
people giving that one a good ranking this year. Another one that moved up 16 spots was Flash Vertical Velocity at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I think people are more keen on these intimate impulse coasters because they're becoming far and few. Like there's less and less of them, especially after Cedar Point took out Wicked Twister a few years ago. So people are enjoying these where they can find them. Moving up 18 spots is Iron Shark, which is at the Galveston Island Historic Pleasure Pier in Galveston, Texas.
Yeah, struggling with that one a bit.
It's a really long name. This one looks like a lot of fun. It's a Gerstlauer model, just kind of like a Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm or Mystery Mine at Dollywood. So same model as those ones. So that one moved up 18 spots. And then next up, moving up 19 spots, is Excalibur at Funtown Splashtown, USA. This is all the way up in Maine, so this
We've talked about
It's
Excalibur,
really-
though, before, haven't we?
There's 2 coasters named Excalibur. There's this one, which is a wooden coaster, and there's also a steel coaster called Excalibur at Valley Fair in Minnesota. So I'm not sure if we've talked about this one or the other one or both, but anyway, so this is a decent sized wooden coaster. I'm not sure if it's had some track work recently that improved it, but people saying good things about this one
Do you
lately.
think it could be because like more people went to that party this year?
That is
too?
definitely one. There's one we're going to talk about here in a minute that I know that's why it moved up so high in the rankings this year. Is just more people were able to ride it than last year.
Okay.
So next on the list is Silver Bullet at Knott's Berry Farm, which is one I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
This one is kind of interesting because I don't know if it was last year or the year before that it dropped like 15 or 16 spots. And then this year it moved up 19 spots. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know. I know right now Knott's Berry Farm has a few coasters that are closed, so I don't know if maybe people have a higher opinion of it just because it's one of the few that are open.
More accessible
So,
to it. Yeah.
But it's a good coaster. I enjoy it a lot. So now this is one that I know we talked about because we did an episode about it, and I theorized that this was going to happen. Mamba at Worlds of Fun also moved up 19 spots. Which is in addition to the, I think, 13 or 14 spots it moved up last year. So it's moved up from like the 150s to up to 113 is where it ranks now. Just purely because of the faster chain lift, and they turned down the trim brakes so that the final half of the ride is actually filled with airtime instead of just boring bunny hills. So, and it's made a big difference. And I've also heard that because this is new, I don't think I've told you this, but because of how well the new Mamba changes have been received, Dorney Park actually made the same changes to Wild Thing this off season, and so that coaster's supposed to be running is better than ever as well. So kind of exciting to see that one. Is it Wild Thing? No, it's Steel Force at Dorney Park. I'm mixing up. Wild Thing is at Valley Fair, which is also the same model, but Steel Force at Dorney Park is the one that had some changes over the off season to make it run similar to Mamba, so that's exciting. And then we have two here that are almost identical. In fact, they may have the exact same layout. I'm not positive, but it's two coasters that I know are the same model. It's Batwing at Six Flags America and Nighthawk at Carowinds, which are both flying Vekoma coasters from the early 2000s, right? Yeah, 2001 and 2004. So they're almost let's see, 843 meters. Oh no, they are different layouts, but they're the same model. But yeah, so and they both moved up 19 spots, which is very weird. So I don't know. Why? I don't know. I know Nighthawk was closed for a lot of 2022. And then they reopened in early 2023. So I actually didn't get to ride this one when I went to Carowinds. It was closed. So that could have had a part in that, where it was just, it was open, so people gave it a better vote.
Maybe.
So, but so a couple of those Vekoma flying coasters getting some improvement in the rankings. And then number 3 on the winners is moving up 20 spots is this little family wooden coaster called Swamp Fox at Family Kingdom Amusement Park in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now, I almost, because when we went to Adesto, I almost went and rode this because I was looking at like coasters that are in the area. Right. And I saw that there was this tiny little amusement park in Myrtle Beach with a wooden coaster there. And so I almost went and rode this, but we just didn't really have time.
I think we just ran out of time.
But yeah, apparently it's running really well and moved up, like I said, 20 spots in the ranking this year. Wow. So there you go. Swamp Fox. That's yeah, I don't even know I don't know what a Swamp Fox is. I don't think I want to know. No thanks. Moving up 33 spots up to number 66 in the rankings is Gale Force at Playland's Castaway Cove in New Jersey. I've heard really good things about this coaster. Apparently it's just really, really unusual. Like the elements are just completely unique to this coaster. It's also, this is an S&S coaster that kind of looks like a Gerstlauer coaster. I don't know, it's just a very interesting model, but I've heard really good things about it. And so apparently people are enjoying it more and more as it continues to climb the rankings. And then this last one, the number 1 moving in the positive direction coaster this year was Defiance at Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park in Colorado. Now, I know we've talked about this one because I think when I announced this, I sent the announcement of this coaster. This is the coaster that was basically built up on top of a mountain up in the Rockies. So it's the not the tallest coaster in North America, but it's the highest coaster in North America, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So last year it ranked in like the low 300s, which kind of surprised me because I was like, I mean, Gerstlauers aren't like top 100 coasters, but people enjoy them. Like, they're a lot of fun. And this one has a banana roll element, which is only on one other coaster in the whole.
I bet the view is incredible.
Oh, the view is gorgeous, right? So I'd heard good things about it, so I was kind of surprised. Well, I think the problem is just not enough people were actually able to get out to Glenwood Caverns last year to try it.
Right.
And so this year, it moves up 145 spots up to number 168, which is more in line with what I would have guessed it would be ranked. So there you go. That's those are the winners from this year's Coaster Bot rankings.
Congratulations.
Good job. A+. Thumbs up.
Chef's kiss.
Mwah. All right. Now we got to talk about the losers. I'm sorry. Number 10, falling 59 spots, is Rampage at Alabama Adventure. Now, this one's kind of interesting because, one, it was in the top 100 last year, and it fell 59 spots all the way to 141. So it's a wooden coaster. Wooden coasters can be kind of finicky, especially this one was built in, when did it open originally? 1998. So it's getting to that point where it can start to be kind of rough. Alabama Adventure has also had financial problems, so this coaster shut down once in 2002, and then opened in 2003, and then closed in 2012, and then opened in 2015, and now they closed it again this year and just announced like a couple weeks ago that it's not opening until 2025 while they do track work on it.
Okay,
so
it could move up again.
This coaster has had a troubled history, but the layout is very good. It was built by CCI, which CCI is known for having really good layouts on their wooden coasters. They just get really rough over time if you don't, give them the proper track work. So we'll see. That this one could have a bounce back in a couple years.
Come back.
Yep. The next one is Adrenaline Peak at Oaks Amusement Park in Oregon. I don't know what's going on here. This is another Gerstlauer coaster.
I like the color on that.
Isn't that interesting?
That's a really cool color scheme.
Nice pink coaster. Almost.
Oh no!
I was gonna say, it kind of reminds me of Pepto-Bismol a little bit. Oh, you know what? It reminds me more of Peppa Pig now that I look at it.
Peppa Pig?
Well, the pink and the blue. I don't know. Doesn't she wear blue?
Not what...
What does it remind you of? Pink and blue.
Not that!
Well, then what does it remind you of?
Oh. Cotton candy?
I guess that's true. Maybe if it was a lighter pink and a lighter blue, I could see the cotton candy, but anyway.
Maybe Jolly Rancher. Who knows?
Ooh, Jolly Rancher.
You're like craving Jolly Rancher now.
Yeah. Another one falling 68 spots was Half Pipe at Elitch Gardens? I think it's Elitch Gardens in Denver, Colorado. I mean, this one's not super spectacular. It's a shuttle coaster, but then then there's like these cars that spin on it, and it's like on a big surfboard type thing.
No.
So
yeah, I would rank that pretty low too.
Also falling 70 spots is Sidewinder at Elitch Gardens. So not sure what's going on at Elitch Gardens, but we got two coasters in here falling significant spots. This one's a really strange one. Oh, is there a picture of the? Yeah, so this is it's a shuttle coaster. So you start on this elevated station and it pushes you out, and then you go through this loop and up into another station over here, and then it pushes you back out and you do the whole thing in reverse.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's kind of a unique.
It's like a big park though.
It's a decent sized park. How many coasters? I think they have like 6, 7. They have 6 coasters at Elitch Gardens. So
only 2 of the 6 dropped?
I mean, I didn't look at the other ones. They don't... The problem with Elitch Gardens is they really don't have any... I mean, you can look and see when these were open. 99, 97, 95, 95, 2004. The last thing they built was 2013, and that was this tiny little family coaster. So exactly. So all these other ones, they haven't built a big coaster since 2004. So, I mean... That's 20 years that they've gone without a big coaster. So, I mean, there's only so much you can do. I've heard rumors that the park has been relocated already before. And I've heard rumors that they're relocating the park again.
What?
It's like, that is so much work. I don't know. Yeah, look at this. Elitch Gardens was relocated between the 1994 and 1995 seasons.
What?
The entry represents the current location for the old Elitch Gardens. Yeah, okay, so you can...
I've never heard this.
Isn't that crazy?
A place being relocated.
No,
An entire amusement park.
So much work.
What the? Why would you do that? Like, why?
Well, I'm sure we could look into it more, but I would guess space is probably the number one thing that causes issues.
Yes.
Either space or they feel like they have a bad location. Like if they... Because I think this park, if I remember... Yeah, you can see... That's how close this park is to Denver. Like, it's like right outside of downtown Denver. So I don't know if they were like out in the boonies and they wanted to move closer to the city to get more traffic, or I don't know. But
Interesting.
yeah. Let's see. Falling 70 spots as well is this Vekoma looper called, is it a looper? Oh no, it has zero inversion. So it's more a family coaster called Hornet at Wonderland Amusement Park in Amarillo, Texas. So, and this one's been relocated a few times. I guess it was Six Flags Astro World is where his coaster was at one point. So that's kind of interesting.
Okay.
And then another one falling 71 spots, also at Wonderland Amusement Park in Amarillo, Texas, is this Wild Mouse coaster called Cyclone, which is a very... I've never had a Wild Mouse coaster called Cyclone before. It's kind of unusual.
Yeah,
So, I don't know. I can't say why these are falling so much, but
yeah, I'd be kind of curious to like get feedback.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like why things are falling, why things are increasing.
I will say, if just looking at some of these parks that are in the bottom here, they're not like headline parks. Right. You know, we're talking Alabama Adventure, Oaks Amusement Park, Wonderland Amusement Park. They're kind of like smaller regional parks. Right. Which I think plays a part into this, that like if they just don't have the manpower to maintain the coasters the same way that a Kings Island or a Silver Dollar City or a Disney World can, then, you know, these coasters are naturally just going to kind of fall off a cliff as they get older and older. I mean, this Wild Mouse, oh wow, I didn't even realize this opened. This opened in 1968.
Wow.
That is really old for a Wild Mouse. Wow. So there's probably just some of that. Is this the one that doesn't have seatbelts on it? This might be the... Oh, it is. This is the Wild... This coaster does not have restraints.
Why would you trust that?
Yeah, so you literally just sit in this, and then there's handles on the side that you hold on to.
No. No.
I forgot about that.
Why?
Because it was built in 68. There were regulations like that.
That can't be legal.
I mean, clearly it is. They're a big enough park that they would have caught the attention of somebody by now if it wasn't legal.
They do what they want, man.
Everything's bigger in Texas. And more dangerous.
Yep.
Let's see. Falling 76 spots is Dragon Coaster at Playland Park, New York. I don't know that this is an old family wooden coaster built in 1929. I actually think this is an Ace Landmark coaster, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, it just might be getting rough with age. Park doesn't have enough manpower to, you know, put in the maintenance on this one. This one is interesting. I think I understand what's going on with this one. So this is Classic Coaster at the Washington State Fair, which is... I mean,
it's a state fair.
It is a state fair, but this is a permanent roller coaster at a state fair, which is very unusual.
Yeah, that is unusual.
Because, I mean, you can see it's a wooden coaster, which, you know, most, you know, state and county fair roller coasters are steel Wild Mouse or Galaxy models or whatever that can just be transported.
The O's.
Oh, yeah, like the Larson loops. So.
They make me sick just even watching them.
Do you know RMC? You know RMC owns that company now? The company that makes the Larson loops. That's owned by RMC now.
You better do something about that.
A lot of people like them.
Yeah,
I'm not crazy about them.
I will never, ever, ever let my kid on those.
Well, let me say, if it's at a amusement park, I would be okay with it. County fair, state fair, no. County fairs and state fairs freak me out a little bit. Like, I will go to them just to enjoy the food and the atmosphere and the music and the games or whatever. Rides is where I draw the line. Like, there's just not the same standard of safety at a carnival or a state fair as there is at a full-blown amusement park.
Maybe if it's like a slow-moving flat ride, but even
it just depends, yeah. Because like what was it? Was it the Fireman's Festival we went to in Pittsburgh last summer? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Like at the it was tiny. It was just in Finleyville.
Yeah, there was just like a little Ferris wheel, and then just like a couple of flat rides, and then they had like they had a gyroscope, or I don't know. There was a few different flat rides that they had, but Parker went on this little, was it a carousel, or it was like a little
car thing.
Oh yeah, it was like just cars, but they were like drove in a circle. Yeah. It was like a flat ride with cars, but like the restraint on it was just a rope.
It was just a rope, yeah.
Like, that is not, I am pretty sure that is not what came standard on this ride when it was constructed. That's the kind of stuff you see at carnivals and county fairs that just, I'm like, no. So,
yeah.
But that's not what's going on here, because this coaster is there year round, but it only operates during the state fair. So it's a really hard credit to get, because not only do you have to go all the way up to Washington, but you have to go when the state fair is going on. So it's so hard to get this credit.
That would be very hard.
But the people that do ride it say it's pretty good. Huh. So, I mean, what's the rank here?
So do they keep the maintenance on it then year round too?
Well, I think they used to, but as we can see, this fell all the way to rank number 488, where it was in the mid 300s last year, which isn't bad, but it's not great. So, I don't know. Huh. I mean, it's 50 miles per hour, 55 feet tall. That's pretty significant size for a coaster. It's designed by John A. Miller, which I'm pretty sure is the same guy that designed Jackrabbit, if I remember correctly. John A. Miller. Oh, he designed so many, so it's hard to remember. Jackrabbit. There's so many Jackrabbits in the early 1900s. They had no idea how to name coasters back then.
They still don't.
They're like, what are we doing?
Especially Six Flags.
What did they name their coaster over there? Oh, I like that name. We'll take it too. Yeah, Jackrabbit at Kennywood. So it's the same guy that designed Jackrabbit at Kennywood. It designed this one too. So, but I think it's just the fact that it's hard to get on. So I think that impacts how people rank it. So
I could see that.
Following 131 spots is Big Bad John at Magic Springs Theme Park in our very own Hot Springs, Arkansas. This park, this park, man. We haven't been to it, and it's not that far, but there's just so little that makes me want to go there. And I know they're trying. I think the problem is the water park is really where they're making their money. And so I think the rest of the dry park doesn't get the attention it needs. Because last year, 2 of the 10 coasters that fell the most in last year's Coaster Bot rankings were also at Magic Springs. So this is just kind of a trend that we're seeing, that the Magic Springs roller coasters are just...
That's sad.
Yeah. So, and they haven't opened, I think they haven't opened a new roller coaster since. They opened one in 2006 was the last coaster they opened, and that's the best one that they have from what I understand, and it's, I don't know, so not much happening there. And then the number 1 falling roller coaster is Cyclone at Lakeside Amusement Park, which fell 135 spots.
Whoa.
Now, I also know that this one's technically standing but not operating as of 2023, so I don't know how much that played a part into that. Actually, I can't remember if the park's having financial problems or if the coaster is just having issues. I can't remember exactly what the story is there on why it's closed for the time being, but
that's a huge drop.
Yeah, maybe let's see if we can find out really quick, because I'm curious. Cyclone Lakeside Amusement Park news. Oh, Oh, that probably has a part in it.
What?
They were sued for a guy that was supposedly injured on the roller coaster back in 2022. Oh. So that, I imagine that probably has something to do with it. So, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that will.
That'll impact people's opinion of a coaster for sure. It's interesting that the coaster can operate for 60 years without having an issue, though, and then all of a sudden someone gets injured on it. I'm not sure what that says, but it's interesting one way or another.
Yeah.
So, well, there you have it. Those are our winners and losers from this year.
Should we start singing We Are the Champions?
Something like that. A few other things here. Changes to the top 100. We'll talk about the coasters that jumped into the top 100 in a little bit, but let's talk about the coasters that fell out of the top 100.
So negative.
I know. So we already talked about Rampage that fell 59 spots, fell out of the top 100. Great Bear at Hershey Park fell 14 spots, which put it to 107.
Didn't they just retract that too?
No, not Great Bear. They didn't retract that one. So
that was but the RMC did Wildcat.
Yes, RMC did Wildcat's Revenge.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great America fell 12 spots, putting it at 104. Expedition Everest fell 8 spots, moving it to 102. So that's one less Disney coaster in the top 100. And sad day. This one made me so sad. Our very own Powder Keg only fell 3 spots, but that was just enough to put it at 101.
That's depressing.
Just outside of the top 100 in the country. Now, I will say, if you want to get technical about this, one of the coasters that's in the top 100 is Gemini at Cedar Point, which CoasterBot sees as 2 roller coasters because there's 2 separate tracks. So if you count that as 1 roller coaster, then Powder Keg would be number 100. So it just depends on how you look at it. Personally, I don't count dual track coasters. I don't count those as 2 credits. I just count it as 1 because in my mind it's 1 attraction. So
one line.
sometimes there's 2 lines. But like Lightning Racer at Hershey Park, those are separate, but I just count it as 1. Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom, I just count that as 1. Because, yes, they are different experiences. Yes, they are separate roller coasters. They don't connect in any way. But I don't know. If you want to count them, that's fine. I don't judge you for it. That's just how I do it. So.
Gosh, Nathan, you're so judgy.
I know, I'm so judgmental. No, but there really are coaster enthusiasts that would be... I don't know. There's some that get really finicky about stuff like that. And I'm like, just let people count what they want to count. We don't need coaster credit police. You know what I mean? Like, which there definitely are people like that. I've seen it on Twitter. And I'm calling you out for it right now. If you're trying to gatekeep people's coaster credits, just stop. Like, let people have fun, man. Quick review of the coasters we talked about in season 2 of the podcast, how they performed this year. Fire in the Hole jumped up 20 spots, mostly just because of the nostalgia factor. I think people are like, "Oh, I don't want it to go." Yeah.
But we are. Did you tell the people yet? We're going on Saturday.
I think I mentioned it in our last episode that we're going to the opening of Fire in the Hole. So that's
maybe if we have some local people that show up, you'll see us.
We'll have our Airtime Traveler gear on, so you should be able to see us. If you recognize us and want to come up and say hi, you can do that. So, Anaconda at King's Dominion fell 19 spots. That's just kind of the nature of being an older coaster, I think.
Yeah.
Same thing with Super Duper Looper, fell 13 spots. Flight of Fear fell 13 spots. Mystery Mine at Dollywood only fell 4 spots. Not bad. Okay. Jackrabbit fell 17 spots, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
More than I would expect. Wildfire at Silver Dollar City fell 10 spots. Already talked about Mamba moving up 19 spots due to the recent changes they made to that coaster. The Raven at Holiday World actually moved up 3 spots, which is impressive. Gatekeeper at Cedar Point only fell 2 spots, pretty normal. Banshee fell 6 spots, also pretty normal. Cosmic Rewind actually moved up 9 spots. I think that's, again, people getting out to Florida and getting a chance to ride it for the first time makes a difference there.
Right.
Because it's so new. Copperhead Strike only fell 2 spots. Ghost Rider only 1 spot. Storm Chaser only 2 spots. And then Millennium Force fell 3 spots. So that's how those are the coasters we talked about this past season. So if any of those interest you, be sure to go and check out those episodes. All right, let's get into the new coasters for 2023. How did the coasters that were constructed last year perform in the CoasterBot rankings? Let's start with international.
Yeah, because
I'm not doing everything international. I'm going to do top 10 international, and then I'm going to do the major coasters that were built in the U.S., which there's like 12 coasters in the U.S. that were significant enough to make my list. So.
To make the list.
My list, which is very official. Okay, so here's the international. Number 10 is Luna at Liseberg. By the way, okay, I'm going to say this now. As we're getting into international stuff,
yeah, we're not good at
pronunciation. I am very American. I understand that. I do not speak any other languages, so I am going to mess some of these up. I know that. Let's get that out of the way now, so you can judge me if you want. But
totally judging you.
I'm doing my best here. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm judging you.
So this is Luna at Liseberg in Sweden. This is a Vekoma family boomerang. So just kind of like Good Gravy that's coming to Holiday World and the one coming to Kings Island. So custom layout. So I think that's boosting its ranking a little bit here. At number 9, we have Lightning at Furuvik in Sweden.
Oh, that was a good pronunciation.
Oh, thank you. This is a Vekoma family launch coaster. Think Big Bear Mountain is kind of how I think it's the same model as Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood. So, does it have onboard audio? Doesn't look like it, but it looks like it has some decent theming. Looks fun. Next, we have Mandrill Mayhem, which I do know about this one because this opened in the new World of Jumanji land at Chessington World of Adventures in the United Kingdom. So there's a whole new Jumanji section that's over at that park.
That sounds like fun.
Doesn't that sound fun? So this is a B&M wing coaster, but it's a shuttle coaster, which has never been done before. So it has a launch, and then it goes through some elements, and then it hits a spike, and then it does it all backwards, but on a wing coaster. But it's also marketed as a family coaster. It only goes 45 miles per hour. It's only 65 feet tall. So very unique coaster. First family wing coaster, but also the first shuttle wing coaster. Just very different. So also, I think, if I remember correctly, I think the last car on the train faces backwards. Yeah, look at this. So first of all, look at these trains. These are really...
Those are cool.
Look cool. And then this is the last car on the train faces backwards. So you launch backwards, and then the second half of the ride you go forward. So it's kind of an interesting model there. Next we have Uncharted at Portaventura Park in Spain. This is... you remember that Harry Potter coaster? What's it called?
Gringotts?
Yes, thank you. Escape from Gringotts. Where it's like part dark ride, part roller coaster. This is the same model, and it's based off of the movie Uncharted that came out in 2021, 2022, something like that. I think it was Tom Holland movie. So.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what year it came out, but yes.
Yeah, you know the movie I'm talking about. Yeah. So. Then we have Zocon, which opened at Fuji-Q Highland in Japan. This is like Intamin's version of the Tron roller coaster. Like it's like the motorbikes that you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's basically Intamin's version of that coaster.
I'm so excited to try that kind of coaster out at Disney.
6 weeks, baby. 6 weeks. Start adding more coaster credits again. I'm excited. I guess we get to add a credit this weekend. I forgot about that with the new Fire in the Hole. So
it's the same layout.
It's still a new credit, though.
I know.
Next, we have Storm the Dragon Legend, which opened at Tusenfryd in Norway.
Oh, that was good pronunciation.
I feel like I'm doing okay with good. These.
The locals are probably like,
yeah, all the Swedes and the Norwegians are like, oh my gosh, this guy, man.
This guy is such an American.
We're like, hey, that was pretty good. And they're like, oh, they're so American. It's probably exactly what's happening. So this is a Gerstlauer inverted coaster, which Gerstlauer has not done any of these in the U.S., but I've heard they're very good, and I've heard good things about this one in particular. So I hope we get one of these eventually in the States because it looks like a lot of fun. So next up, we have Mission Ferrari, which opened at Ferrari World Abu Dhabi. Now, from what I understand, this coaster had been in the works for like 6 years or something like that. Like, working on it forever. And then finally got it open. But this is a one-of-a-kind coaster. So it's part dark ride, part roller coaster. But it's also built by a company called Dynamic Attractions, which I've never heard of before. Yeah. So this is just a really interesting coaster that's, I don't know, just very, very different from anything else. And like,
but it has good ratings?
I mean, so let's see, where did it rank? It ranked at number 106 nationwide. So, I mean, or not nationwide, it ranked 106 worldwide. So that's pretty good. So that
is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a really good ranking, actually. So you can see the track is kind of interesting. It's like a single rail track, but it still kind of has rails on it. I don't know. It's very unique, very different from anything else we've seen. Then number 3 internationally was Manta, which opened at SeaWorld. I think it's called, this name, from what I understand, it's being called SeaWorld Abu Dhabi, I think is what it's being called, which that's 2 coasters in a row at Abu Dhabi, so that's kind of interesting. This is an Intamin launch coaster, kind of like Maverick, I think, is kind of what we're looking at here. Is another coaster of that type, just with longer trains, but it seems like pretty low to the ground, fast elements, inversions, things like that. So looks like a lot of fun. These top 3 are all Intamins, actually, that opened internationally. This one, I gotta be honest, I have no idea how to say this one. It's French, so
Posh.
No, not the name of the coaster.
Oh,
Totatus.
Oh.
I have no idea how to say it.
Here, I got this.
What? Oh, you're gonna look it up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a coaster opened at Parc Astérix in France. It's like the next version of Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. It's another Intamin, what do they call it? Multi-pass launch coasters. So it looks really, really good. Like, just some of the POVs I've watched of this one, I'm like, that makes me want to go to France just to ride this coaster. So we're still looking it up here.
It's mythology.
Oh, is it mythology?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that kind of checks out looking at the theme here.
Tautitus.
Tautitus, is that what I heard?
Tautitus.
Tautitus. I'll take it. And then number 1 internationally, Batman Gotham City Escape at Park Warner Madrid in Spain. Cool. Yeah, so this is another Intamin multi-launch. Just some really fun elements on this one. A lot of cool inversions. And it kind of looks like a miniature Velocicoaster, honestly. So, and Velocicoasters had, rave reviews ever since it opened. So I think definitely looks like this one's being enjoyed as well. So
one day we'll get to go to Universal again.
So there you have it. There are the top 10 coasters that opened internationally. I've got a multimedia presentation here for the U.S. top 10 or top 12 that opened this year. You ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I don't think okay.
Bring it on.
Okay. So here's the top 12 coasters that opened in the States this year. So number 12, I know. So number 12, we have Flying Viking. This is a little family coaster that opened at Adventureland, Iowa.
I really like the
train's cool. It's a combination roller coaster, and then there's a log flume that intertwines with it. So you go into the line and you pick which ride you want to go on. So number 11 is Arctic Rescue, which opened at SeaWorld San Diego. This is just a family launch coaster, but it's like you're on jet skis. Is the
I was gonna say
that looks or no? I guess Arctic Rescue. It's probably snowmobiles, not jet skis. I'd imagine. Number 10, we've got Wild Mouse at Cedar Point, which a lot of people have been talking about this year. I will say, out of all the...
Mouse?
Yeah, but it's a spinning Wild Mouse, and it's a custom layout. So
fancy.
Yeah. So this one looks... This looks like a really good Wild Mouse coaster, I'll be honest. So, number 9, we've got Dark Coaster, which opened at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Another family launch coaster. This one's based off snowmobiles again. But this one's all indoors, and it also is playing off the theme of the Curse of Dark Castle Dark Ride that used to be in this building. So that's kind of a fun little callback. Number 8, we have Aquaman Power Wave at Six Flags Over Texas, which we talked in our new for 2024 episode about that water coaster that Six Flags Over Georgia is doing. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to this one, except that one has spinning cars and this one is just a big boat. So, Number 7, we have Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood, which we are very familiar with. I did get to
the music comes into my
the head. The Dolly song that she wrote for this. So I did get to ride this one. Very good coaster, a lot of fun. Hopefully this summer. We'll see. Still up in the air. We'll see. So. Number 6, we have Pipeline the Surf Coaster that opened at SeaWorld Orlando. I'm actually kind of surprised how far down this one is because I've heard nothing but good things about it. Like, I've heard a lot of people say that it's unlike any other coaster they've ever experienced before, but, like, it's just a lot further down in the rankings than I would have thought, but still very high. Number 5, we have Zambezi Zinger at Worlds of Fun. I was hoping to get a ride on this last year. Didn't happen. Is definitely going to happen this year.
We're going in May.
Yep, we'll be going in May to the Ace Around the World event, so we'll definitely get some Zambezi Zinger rides while we're there. And number 4, we've got Matugani, which opened at Lost Island Theme Park. So this is the same model as Storm Runner at Hershey Park, just on a much smaller scale. So it's still got a pretty good launch, but it doesn't go up like I think it's 180 feet that Storm Runner goes up. This is only like 100 feet, so it's like a smaller version of Storm Runner, if that makes sense. Number 3, we have Tron Light Cycle Run at the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. So this one we'll get to be trying in just about a month.
33 days.
Yeah. Very exciting. We're excited to give this one a shot. So, looks like a lot of fun. Heard it's a little short, but still looks like fun.
I'm still so excited.
Number 2, we gotta get to Hershey Park to ride Wildcats Revenge.
We have plans to do Hershey this year.
I don't think we do. I wish we did, but I don't think we'll have time either. But this looks so good. I've heard nothing but rave reviews for Wildcats Revenge. And then number 1, Airy Force 1 at Fun Spot America Atlanta. This is the one I was telling you when we were driving through Atlanta to Orlando for Disney World. I really wanted to go to this park for this coaster, and this is why, because people just will not stop raving about this coaster.
This is in Atlanta?
It's in Atlanta, yeah. So, and it's at a tiny little park that only has like 3 coasters. But this one, I want to go so bad. So, we'll talk about
maybe on our way home.
We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But we'll get into it because some of these coasters, some of these new ones, did end up in the top 25 in the country overall rankings. So we'll talk about that in a minute here. But so there are your new for 2023 coasters in the U.S. What do we got now? Oh, okay. So let's wrap up now with, let's talk about the top 10 parks internationally and stateside, and then the top 25 coasters internationally and stateside. Okay? And then we'll be done.
Okay.
Does that work? So
Do
here's...
we have to?
Don't have to. I can do it by myself.
No, I mean, do we have to be done?
Oh. Do we have to? I just want to go to bed.
Oh gosh. If they have no idea how long this day has been for me.
That's true. We don't have time to get into it.
No, we don't. Let's just say there was a goldfish conundrum this morning.
It's fun having a toddler. We'll leave it at that.
Oh, man.
So the way I've done these park rankings, just so you guys kind of have an idea that you're listening, this is just a system that I put together. So there's don't take this to mean gospel or anything like that. This is just purely how I'm looking at it. What I did is I wanted to see how many coasters each park had inside the top 200 worldwide. And then to differentiate the tiebreakers, I used the average ranking of those coasters. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this first park that we have is Nanchang Sunatland in China, which has 2 coasters inside the top 200.
Oh, you totally botched that.
I don't know what to tell you. So it has 2 coasters inside the top 100 with an average ranking of 45 between the 2 of them. So here's that park right there.
I really like that park. Yeah. It's really pretty.
Yeah, like the lake in the middle.
Yeah.
So. At number 9, we have Happy Valley Shanghai with 3 coasters in the top 200 and an average ranking of 134. I like this carousel. Look at that.
That's
really pretty. Yeah.
Is it? It's a 2-story one.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
There's not many of those. So, number 8, we have Canada's Wonderland, which is very high on my bucket list. They have a lot of great coasters here. It really isn't. It's.
From my parents' house,
we really could be talking about Canada's Wonderland as a U.S. coaster if we wanted to. No one would even bat an eye. It's just across the border, really. So,
yeah. We have plans to go to that one day. It's
yes, definitely.
Finding the time to do so and
making
sure we have our passports because we still need passports to get over the border.
Mm-hmm. So, has 3 coasters with in the top 200 with an average ranking of 118. Next, we have Europa Park in Germany. This park has also been ranked the number 1 amusement park in the world the past few years by the Golden Ticket Awards.
Wow.
So Europa Park definitely firing on all cylinders. They're very, you can see they even have, hotels, they have, full-blown resorts on them. This is a destination amusement park for sure.
They've got their own Epcot ball.
Yeah, they sure do. There's a roller coaster inside that.
I know. We've talked about
Have we talked about that? Okay,
yeah.
good. Okay. So, with 3 coasters inside the top 200 with an average ranking of 115. Next, we have Fuji Q Highland in Japan. This is interesting because 2 weeks ago when I put these rankings together, Fuji Q Highland was actually at the top of the list. But then they announced that this white coaster right here...
The microphone's in the way, Nathan.
Oh, sorry. This white coaster right here is called Dododonpa. And it was the fastest accelerating...
What's it called?
Dododonpa. That is actually... I know I'm pronouncing that one correctly. I know I'm pronouncing that correctly because I've watched so many videos about it.
Oh.
Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like I'm stupid when I'm not. The coaster...
You're not stupid.
Thank you. So the coaster was the fastest accelerating coaster in the world. Wow. And it wasn't even close. It went to like...
So what is this?
Let's find this. I want to read this. We've talked about this coaster before, actually.
We have?
In I don't know which episode, but went from 0 to 111 miles per hour in 1.6 seconds.
What's the fastest one I've been on?
Fastest launch?
Sure.
Stormrunner, by comparison, goes 0 to 72 in 2 seconds. So it's slower and it takes longer to get there.
Wow.
Just by comparison there.
That's insane.
40 miles per hour slower and it takes 0.4 seconds longer to get there. Like, this thing is... Dododonpa was insane. To the point that it closed, like... It was announced that it closed literally like a week ago. And the reason was... I know it's been closed for... I think like a year or 2 it's been closed because they were being sued because some people claimed that they had broken sternums from riding this thing.
What?
That's how crazy this thing was. So, yeah.
What?
Yeah, but it was ranked at number, I think, 147 worldwide. And so when that shut down, I had to realign my rankings, and that moved Fuji Q Highland down to what I think number 6 is what I just said. So there you go. There's a fun little tidbit on how that ranking changed when
I can't get past that.
Isn't that crazy? I mean,
that's like scary.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty nuts.
That is nuts.
Let's see. Number 5, we have Parc Asterix. Oh, wait. No, this is Fuji-Q. How did I get? Here we go. Parc Asterix in France, which we talked about, opened. That was one of the top coasters that opened internationally. So that helped move Parc Asterix up into this number 5 spot. So really pretty looking park. So, lots of trees around. You can see coasters kind of dotting the area. So. And then we have Ferrari World Abu Dhabi at number 4, which again we talked about earlier.
Yep.
They're the ones that just opened. In fact, you can see it back here. There's Mission Ferrari. Ferrari World Abu Dhabi also is home to the fastest roller coaster in the world.
That's insane.
Formula Rossa, which goes, I think, 147 miles per hour. You have to wear. It's out in the. This is in Abu Dhabi, so it's in the desert. You have to wear safety goggles on the roller coaster because they didn't want you.
Talked about this
don't want you to get sand particles in your eye. So, now there is a coaster under construction that's supposed to beat that record, but for the time being, still holds the record. So,
okay, that's where I'm like drawing. I think that's where I like draw my line. It's like, what is too much for a roller coaster? That's it. That's right there.
There's no such thing.
There is such thing. Like, you have to wear safety goggles because they
actually. I don't think the safety goggles is the line. I think the broken sternums is the line.
That's my line. That's my line. Yeah.
I think that should be the line. Oh, gosh. At number 3, we have Wallaby Holland, which I couldn't find a great picture of, so this picture doesn't do it justice, but this is an RMC coaster that they have at the park, which I've heard is very good. It's like a medieval themed park, and it's kind of out in the... From what I understand, it's got a very, like, Sherwood Forest type of feel.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. But I've heard very good things about it. Used to be a Six Flags park, and then the Wallaby Parks bought it 10, 15 years ago, something like that. And number 2, we have Energylandia in Poland. Oh, by the way, Wallaby Holland is in the Netherlands, in case you didn't figure that out.
Oh, okay.
Energylandia in Poland. This park is growing like crazy. This park, when did Energylandia open up? Energylandia, RCDB.
We've talked about Energylandia before.
We've talked about this. The park opened in 2014. Look how big this park is in 10 years.
That's insane.
It's because it's government funded. So the government basically is funding this for the tourism.
Yes, I remember us talking about this.
Okay, so we have talked about this. So lots of great coasters there. The number 1 coaster there, well, I guess we'll talk about International Top 25 in a minute, but they have 3 coasters in the top 200 with an average ranking of 54, which is really good. But not enough to beat Phantasialand in Germany.
Okay.
Which
is so cool.
I have heard.
I would love to go to this park.
Phantasialand is probably, if I had to pick one park internationally to go to, it would probably be Phantasialand. Because not only do they have coasters that people just rave about, but it has to be one of the most heavily themed amusement parks I've ever seen.
Yep.
Like, it just looks so incredible. Cool. So, yeah. Just looking at this picture, you're like, wow.
It looks like you're just walking through a Renaissance.
It does. It just looks fantastic. So cool. Yeah. It just blows me away. So, definitely worthy of the number 1 spots here. 3 coasters in the top 200 with an average ranking of 49.3. I'm curious if I can figure out what those 3 coasters are. I know for sure 2 of them are I wanted RCDB here. 2 of them are Terran and FLY. I'm not sure. It's got to be Black Mamba, I guess, is probably the well, maybe not.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was trying to remember what those 3 coasters are that are in the top 200, but anyway. I know Terran and FLY are, but anyway. Yeah, looks like a great park for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, so now let's talk international top 25 coasters. I got another multimedia presentation here.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Man, you've been busy.
I have been busy. I wanted to do this justice. So, here's our international top 25. At number 25, we have a Medusa steel coaster at Six Flags Mexico. Typical RMC kicking us.
Looks a lot like Steel Vengeance.
Kicking us right out of the bat with a good RMC coaster at Six Flags Mexico. So, I don't know what more to say. I mean, it's RMC. We have number 24. We have Hypercoaster at Land of Legends in Turkey. The loop, you see the vertical loop on this? That holds the record for the tallest vertical loop in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a fun little tidbit there. Let's see. At number 23, we have Wood Coaster at Night Valley in China.
Okay.
It's a very unique name. I don't know if like the name means something different in China and just in English it just translates to Wood Coaster, but I don't know. It just might be a cultural thing but it looks very good. It's a GCI coaster, I'm pretty sure. Next we have Flying Dinosaur at Universal Studios Japan, which I've heard from lots of people that this is the best flying coaster in the world.
Really?
Yeah, just lots of people say that this is the best one. So it looks fun. So good theme. Number 21, we have Python and Bamboo Forest at Nongsheng Sunakland in China. I think this is, I can't tell. This one, I can't tell if it's GCI. It looks like GCI. It might be Gravity Group, actually. I should have written down the manufacturers on these, but
that's okay.
It's a very good looking wooden coaster. Looks like fun. Number 20, we have Shambhala at Port Aventura Park in Spain. This is one of those, it's a B&M hypercoaster, just like Diamondback or Candemonium. But I think this one's over 250 feet, so it's a really big one. It's not quite
giga. I like that feature.
Isn't that the little figure 8 turnaround there?
Yeah, that's cool.
Next, we have Dinoconda at China Dinosaurs Park. This is, I don't know if we talked about fourth dimension coasters. Basically, on these coasters, there's like the seats turn, but it's not like a free spin. It's a controlled spin, kind of like Time Traveler, but rather than spinning, it turns upside down like this. So, number 18, we have Helix at Liseberg in Sweden. This one looks just like a lot of fun. I think this isn't just an Intamin. I think it's a launch coaster. Some of these I'm familiar with them enough to know that they look fun, but I don't remember everything about them. Here's one of those Phantasialand coasters we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Here's FLY, which is a flying coaster by Vekoma. I think this is like Vekoma's new age flying coaster. So, but this is a launched flying coaster, which is kind of interesting. It's really low to the ground, but it's like weaving in and out of city buildings.
Oh, that'd be so cool, right?
Here's Schwerdeskarnan, I think as I say it, at Hansa Park in Germany. You can see the first drop is in this giant tower that's right next to the coaster, and you come out of the building at the very bottom of the drop, and then you come into this layout with all these inversions.
That's insane.
Here's Hyperion at number 15. This is one of Energylandia's really good coasters. I don't think it has any inversions. I think this is just Intamin. This is a new age Intamin hypercoaster. So it's kind of like Millennium Force if they made it now instead of 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Speaking of Millennium Force, this is Expedition G-Force at Holiday Park in Germany, which is shorter than Millennium Force, but I've heard a lot of people say it's actually better than Millennium Force. So it looks like a lot of fun too. This one kind of weaving in and out of the trees. At number 13, we have Conda at Wallaby, Belgium. This is some of these elements, like this Outer Bank turn right here looks really cool. And then, you know how Wildfire has that Cobra roll over by the observation deck? This is a non-inverting Cobra roll. So, like, you come up and then you turn over as you hit the Cobra roll so that the middle section, you're actually up, like, right side up instead of upside down. Weird. So, very interesting element.
Yeah.
Here's Terran at Phantasialand. This is the one that was in the picture of Phantasialand that we were looking at. So, multi-launch Intamin coaster. Looks like so much fun, just weaving in and out of the rocks. Number 11, we have Wildfire at Kolmården Wildlife Park in Sweden.
That looks sweet.
This is basically at a zoo. Like this is a zoo that was just like, RMC, can you build us a massive wooden coaster?
We've talked about this one too. Yes. This is, a lot of people say this is the best wooden coaster in the world. Some people disagree. Some people say number 10 here, T-Express at Everland in South Korea, could also make an argument for the best wooden coaster in the world. I've also heard T-Express is getting some metal Titan track rework during the off season this year, so should be running even smoother come next year. Oh, how did we pronounce this one again? Tautitus. Already forgot. It's the multi-launch Intamin at Parc Astérix in France. Looks like a lot of fun. Number 8, we have Batman Gotham City Escape at Park Warner Madrid in Spain. This was the number 1 international coaster to open this year. So,
okay.
This element is crazy. Look at that. Like, just come up and then right back down. That looks insane.
It looks like whiplash waiting to happen.
Here's the RMC at Wallaby Holland. This is at number 7. We have Untamed. What do you say about RMC? They all look great.
I mean, it's RMC. You can't really compete.
They just all look fantastic. So, I like the trains on those. It's really cool. At number 6, we have Taiga at Linnanmäki in Finland. Another Intamin multi-launch coaster. This one, just look at how long this coaster is. Look how much it just weaves in and out of itself. Wow. Just like this big knot of coaster track.
Look like a big knot.
Yeah, I like a good long coaster. So here's DC Rivals Hyper Coaster at Warner Brothers Movie World in Australia. We haven't talked about Australia at all yet.
That's cool.
This is widely considered the best coaster in Australia. The first drop on this kind of like comes down, but then it turns as you go down this big 200-foot drop. So number 4, we have Hakuge at Nagashima Spa Land in Japan. Who built this? RMC built this. Guys, yeah. I must say this is one of the prettiest, most picturesque looking coasters with the blue track on the white support structure.
Really pretty.
It's really nice.
I agree with that.
At number 3, we have Ija Naika at Fuji-Q Highland in Japan. This is another one of those 4th dimension coasters with the turning seats. This is widely considered to be the best version of that coaster model. There's only 3 of them in the world. Yeah, that's crazy.
On that one, I think.
Number 2 is another RMC coaster, of course. This one was built from the ground up, though, because it's at Energylandia, which has only been open for 10 years. So they didn't have a wooden coaster for them to convert. So they just said, RMC, why don't you just come and build something from the ground up? And they built this giant thing.
Amazing.
And then number 1 is Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland de Pan in Belgium. And what does this look like?
That looks like
Time Traveler. It looks like Time Traveler. It's the same model as Time Traveler, but from what I've heard, it's like Time Traveler on steroids. It is fantastic. So
sounds like I will need my
motion sickness
stuff on that one for sure.
So there you have it. There's our international top 25. Let's talk about the States, since that's what we're familiar with, and then we'll call it a day. So first, let's do a top 10 parks really quick. I ranked these the same way I did internationally, except I consolidated it to just U.S. parks. So when I say it has 6 coasters in the top 200, that means top 200 in the States, not worldwide. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So at number 10, we have Dollywood with 6 coasters in the top 200, an average ranking of 103.7. At number 9, we have Six Flags Fiesta Texas, again with 6 coasters in the top 200, average ranking of 101. And then Busch Gardens Tampa at number 8 with 6 coasters in the top 200 and an average ranking of 77.5. Then Six Flags Great America with 7 coasters in the top 200, average ranking of 105. And then the other Busch Gardens park, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, also with 7 coasters, average ranking of 100.9.
We're going to try and go and hit that one.
Yeah, we're going to try to do Busch Gardens Williamsburg this summer.
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm just boring her to death.
No. No, I have a 4-year-old and a 5-month-old. So.
That's fair. That's very fair. So.
I'm wearing down.
Kings Island comes in at number 5 with 7 coasters as well, average ranking of 92.1. Next, we have Hershey Park at number 4, again with 7 coasters and an average ranking of 81.4.
I love Hershey.
Oh, so good.
And then Six Flags Great Adventure comes in at number 3, again with 7 coasters and an average ranking of 75.7. And then number 2, we've got Cedar Point comes in at 2nd with 9 coasters in the top 200, average ranking of 94.7. And Six Flags Magic Mountain takes home the gold with 11 coasters in the top 200 and an average ranking of 100.4.
You've been begging me to go to
I want to go to Magic Mountain so bad.
Yeah.
We're going to try next year. We'll see. That's crazy, though. 11 coasters in the top 200 when most of the parks in the country don't even have 11 coasters. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, now I will say Cedar Point is definitely going to hit 10 coasters in the top 200 this year after Top Thrill 2 opens. So
Which I will not be going on. Nope.
So if Six Flags Magic Mountain...
You couldn't even pay me to get on that one.
Okay.
I'm serious. That thing is terrifying.
So if Six Flags Magic Mountain has something that falls out of the top 200, then potentially Cedar Point could jump into that top spot next year. So we'll have to see. Okay, let's do it. U.S. top 25 coasters, and then we'll be done. You ready?
Yeah.
One more multimedia presentation. Here we go. Number 20.
These are funny.
Number 25, we have Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. This is widely considered the best hyper coaster in the country.
There you go. So is this will be one of your credits?
This should be. Spoiler alert.
Sorry. I didn't know it was a spoiler alert.
Number 24, we have Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. This is one I've been on. It's very good. One of the best wooden coasters in the country. Also did an episode about it last year. So, not much more to say there.
No.
It's a lot of fun.
No.
At number 23, we have Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. I mean, obviously, we're going to have some RMCs on this list. So.
Yep.
So.
A lot of people have to be aware that I have not been on a lot of these just because I'm the one that usually stays and watches the kids.
That and the fact that she was pregnant last year. So like Kentucky
really
Kingdom
hard.
and Holiday World I went to by myself.
Yeah.
So this is what I haven't been on. Number 22, Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England, an Intamin hypercoaster. This is one I could have been on when I was younger, but it was before and I got into coasters and I was too terrified to ride it. So my dad has been on this one. I have not.
Yes!
Here we go. Number 21, Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood.
Oh,
Haley's Home Park.
so good.
We love us some Phantom's Revenge. This is such a great coaster.
Yes.
Very
such
good.
a great coaster.
Yep. I will say fell 5 spots in the rankings this year. Not sure why.
I wonder if it needs to retract.
Number 20, we have Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. This is another one of the smaller RMC coasters, kind of in the same size as...
2 of them are in Six Flags New England.
Yeah, Six Flags New England's got 2 in this top 25. Huh. Got a nice 1-2 punch there for sure, so makes me want to go to that park. Number 19, we have Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I've heard nothing but good things about Pantheon ever since it opened.
We want to go to this park this year, and this is one that I will definitely be going with you and riding stuff on.
My buddy or I guess our friends live in...
Yeah, not your buddy.
Well, he is my buddy. My buddy and... Anyway, our friends live in that area, and they've said they've been on Pantheon, so it's really good. So.
Did they say that they're coming with us?
To be determined based on finances and children and yada yada. They're also moving this summer, so
we're not sure how that's going to work out, but we'll see.
Yeah. Number 18, we have Millennium Force at Cedar Point.
We've both been on this one.
Been on this one.
Good.
It is a very good ride.
Mm-hmm.
Number 17, we have Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Another RMC coaster on the list. This one actually moved up 3 spots this year, so people really like an Iron Rattler lately. So, it's very early. I think this was like the 2nd or 3rd one that they built, so very early on in RMC's lifespan. Number 16, we have X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is the same model as the other 4th Dimension coasters with the spinning seats. This was the original that was built, and then the other ones built overseas came later. So, but people really
really rave about X2, say it's one of the most intense coasters in the country.
Outlaw Run!
Number 15, our very own Outlaw Run here in our backyard at Silver Dollar City. Still very good, even, 11 years after it opened?
Yes.
It's crazy, it's that old already.
I will tell you, it is like 10 times better at night, in my personal opinion.
Best night ride in the country, and I will defend that against the Beast night ride. I will do it. Number 14, we have Twisted Colossus, another coaster from Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is an RMC dueling coaster, so this looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
Also, when you ride it, it's one coaster, so you don't have to like get on the blue side, get off, and then get back in line to ride the green side. You ride the blue side, and then when you come back into the station, it switches to the green side. And so you basically get 2 coaster rides at one when you wait in line.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay.
Number 13, Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. This is currently your number one. Yeah.
Yes.
I
love Twisted Timbers.
We love us some Twisted Timbers.
We rode this so many times.
Like, 6 times when we were
I
there?
think so, because like they let us just get back on and go. Like,
there was like nobody in the park.
Oh, so awesome.
Number 12, we have Skyrush at Hershey Park, which, I mean, it's ranked number 12 and it's getting new restraints.
Okay, yes, I can.
How much higher is this gonna go if the restraints are more comfortable?
Yeah.
Who knows? This could
really
be
low on my list because I was not a fan of the restraints at all.
Yeah. Number 11, just ahead of its sister coaster here at Hershey Park, is Wildcats Revenge at Hershey Park.
Mm-hmm. We have not read the Revenge one.
No, we've ridden the original Wildcat before the RMC conversion, but we have not been on the new one. So.
Yes, my brother has, and he said it's fantastic. So.
Number 10, we have Lightning Rod at Dollywood, which could fall in the rankings next year.
Nathan saw a bear on this ride.
I did not see a bear.
The
ride closed because the ride ops saw a bear. True story. If you want to hear more, go listen to our Dollywood trip report. Number 9, we have Maverick at Cedar Point. This is my number 3. Is your number 2? Yes. So good. I love Maverick, man.
So good.
Fantastic ride.
Yes.
So much fun.
I like Storm Runner too.
Yeah, the Intamin launch coasters.
They're
chef's kiss. Mwah. Number 8, we have Intimidator 305, which actually, as of yesterday, this is now not Intimidator 305 anymore. For this year, it's called Project 305 because of they don't have the NASCAR theming anymore, but the retheme isn't happening till 2025.
So it's called Project
So for 1 year, it's called Project 305, which is interesting. So I saw pictures yesterday. They have a new ride sign. All the Intimidator stuff is gone. The trains are still the same, but they took all the decals off of it. What's interesting, though, the ride sign for Project 305 has leopard print in the background. So kind of a little hint at a jungle retheme coming for next year. So, but we'll see. Number 7, we have El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure, widely considered to be one of the best wooden coasters in the country. It's had its share of technical issues the past couple of years. It had a train go off not a full train, but it had a car derail 2 years ago, and then it closed for some issues last year too. So
that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's not having a good run lately. Here's number 6, Airy Force 1 at Fun Spot America Atlanta. This is the number 1 new coaster for 2023 in the States, coming in at number 6. Number 5, we have The Voyage at Holiday World, which is the highest ranked wooden coaster in these rankings.
Nathan got to ride that I could not because I was pregnant.
Yep, this is one that I got to do. Haley has not gotten to do yet, so.
But I do plan on going because it's not far from my cousin's house.
It's not too bad. Yeah, Holiday World's pretty easy for us to get to if we just take a weekend to do it. So here's my number 1. This comes at a number 4. This is Fury 325 at Carowinds.
You better take me here because I was so mad that like this has turned into your number 1 and I didn't even get to go with you.
I know. It's such a bummer.
So dumb. So dumb.
Number 3, we have Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens, Tampa, one of the newer RMC coasters, and last year's number 1 has now fallen to number 3.
I want to go with you now. Why is it gonna be expensive?
I know.
So lame. Yeah.
Number 2, Velocicoaster at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. People rave about this all the time. It's like the best of both worlds, like an intimate launch coaster, but also theming like no other. Yeah. Just looks fantastic. One day. And then, of course, what else would be at number 1 but the one and only Steel Vengeance in Cedar Point? Lost the number 1 spot to Iron Gwazi for 1 year and then stole it right back a year later. So I think people got hyped about Iron Gwazi and the kind of the newness of a new hyper hybrid coaster from RMC got people excited last year. And then as the newness has worn off over the past year, I think people are like, Iron Gwazi is very good, but I still think Steel Vengeance just has that slight edge. So I think that's what's going on here. So.
I feel like I didn't give it enough credit.
I think that the thing about Steel Vengeance is it is relentless, right? Like, it is a long ride. It has more airtime than any other coaster in the world. And so, like, if you're down for a coaster to just kind of beat you up a little bit...
I think that was my thing. Is it because...
Not beat you... It's your thighs. Let's be honest. With the RMC restraints, it's all about your thighs. There's no over-the-shoulder restraints or anything. So it's all in your thighs. So that final lap...
I had whiplash, like, halfway through the ride. So I was like, done. I was like, done. I was like, I'm done with this. But...
And that's the thing, like, if you prefer a medium-sized coaster that does the same thing, that's Twisted Timbers, right? Like, Twisted Timbers is the same, but it's shorter and not as fast. It's less intense, but it does, like, it still has the intense airtime and the inversions of a Steel Vengeance.
Like
so
Twisted Timbers is just enough edge for me.
Yeah, so.
Well, that's why I'm GP and not an enthusiast. So.
Well, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, Steel Vengeance is obviously at number 1, but I have it as my number 2. And then Fury 325 is number 4, but I have it as my number 1. So Storm Runner's not even on this list, and it's my number 6. So it's Cosmic Rewind's not on this list, but it's my number 8. Oh. Copperhead Strike isn't on the list. It's my number 10.
Cosmic Rewind wasn't on this list. I think that's fantastic.
That's the thing is, like, enthusiasts just have their own opinions, and obviously this is a collective opinion of all enthusiasts. But the thing about Cosmic Rewind, I think, is a lot of enthusiasts are also looking for intensity when it comes to these rides, and it's not super intense. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And it's just a good time, but it's not. There's no airtime, not really. Yeah. So I think that's the thing for me. So, yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in to our CoasterBot 2023 review. Just a big thank you to CoasterBot and all the things that they do. Obviously, we use them a lot, and as we talk about the CoasterBot rankings in each of our episodes, and we like to do this CoasterBot review every year to look into the ratings or the rankings and see how coasters are performing. So be sure to go and give them a follow. I know they're on X and on Instagram. They're on YouTube. They also have a podcast called CoasterBot Rambles. So be sure to go and give them a follow. Check out all of their content and all the great things that they're doing, because they do a lot of great work in the coaster enthusiast community, and they deserve the credit for all the hard work and the great content that they're putting out. So yeah, they do some great stuff over there. So just want to give them a thank you for all that they do. So, and thank you for tuning into this episode. Like I said, season 3 is on the way, coming up in just a little over 10 days, I think, as we're recording this. So be sure to check it out, coming April 4th of 2024. And I promise the coaster we're talking about, you've heard before, you've heard of, and you've heard the story, but we're gonna dive into it deep, and it's a heck of a story. So we like the season openers to be a good story to kick things off. So be sure to tune in and check out all the back catalog, all the other episodes that we've done. We've got some great stuff for you to listen to. So, and with that, I think that's all we've got for today. So Any final thoughts from the GP? GP's go Twisted Timbers.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.